Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Henrique, the head of growth at Rose. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me, Christian.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. First of all, please tell us what is Rose.
Rose is a modern spreadsheet, so it's like the easiest way for you to import, transform, and share data in a spreadsheet. We're really taking on Google Sheets and Excel.
What's the main differentiator? What's the problem that you solve?
Well, what we notice is that Excel is probably the only tool in the world that's like a market leader for the past 30 or 40 years. And in the last maybe 10 years or so, a few big things changed. So the first one is first in like '06 with the iPhone, a lot of our work became mobile first. Then this explosion of SaaS tools. So you wanting to connect your Postgres database to Facebook ads, to all of your other tools. And then now the emergence of AI. And what we feel is that spreadsheets weren't really built for this world. And so Rose offers the spreadsheet counterpoint for these big changes. So it is really fully a spreadsheet, but it has a data layer of all of these connectors pre-built. You can connect your GA4, Facebook ads, TikTok, databases, Salesforce. Then you have an AI layer to help you build your report, ask questions, build it together. And then finally, when you share it, you actually share a spreadsheet and it looks like a beautiful dashboard. It's all mobile friendly. You can take, for example, a chart that you like, embed it in Notion. It's just a much more modern way of using a spreadsheet.
Nice. It's like Excel on steroids with more integrations and beautiful.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess integrations are crucial for you. Can you name some of the parties?
Yeah, so most of your marketing players, so these would be things like Google Ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, etc. This is one, like your ad networks in social. Another one would be CRM, so things like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, and then databases as well. So you can connect to BigQuery and write SQL queries directly there, Postgres, MySQL, Amazon Redshift. And then we have a layer there, like things like Stripe as well, which are custom APIs. So we have the HTTP endpoints as formulas, so you can actually connect to your own back office, custom CRMs, all through the spreadsheet without code.
Nice. And who are you selling to? Who are the companies that need the solution? What are the, let's say, use cases?
Yeah. Well, the blessing and the curse of building a spreadsheet is that at the end of the day, anybody can use it. The people that we see that have most success using the product are typically marketers, growth people, founders at tech companies or SaaS companies, because they love to use it for reporting purposes. So I was just coming off a call this morning with a SaaS CEO who's using us for all of their investor reports. They look beautiful. They can share the investor updates. In the afternoon, I have a few calls with SEO agencies that are using us for client reporting on the SEO front. So it's a lot, data that they have on a spreadsheet that you want to mesh it, present it in a beautiful way. So a lot of it is marketing and growth and sales. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. How about the pricing? How does it work?
What we found with building a spreadsheet like Rose is that, unlike I think other tools, we do have a direct competitor that everybody already has installed. Everybody already has Excel or Google Sheets. And so what this meant for us is that we have a free forever plan. It's a freemium model. You can sign up, invite unlimited people, use integrations all as part of the free plan. And then we have some features that have paywalls or that have usage limits, which then bring you to the other plans. And then the paid plans begin at $15 per month per member. So if you're an agency or if you're a freelancer, maybe you have one or two seats. If you want to expand this to more people, you just invite them either as guests or as members. One actually quite cool thing is that to get started, we don't even have a homepage. We did this experiment where if you go to rose.com on your desktop, you land directly on the product. So I think it's really the easiest way for you to get started and start playing
I
around with the
attended
product.
the SaaS Talk Local Lisbon last year in November, and you're a speaker there, and you shared the strategy of having no homepage. So maybe you can share some takeaways. Why is that? How did the idea came? How do you see it working? Do you think it's working for others?
Yeah, we had this idea for a while exactly because of this thing. If everybody already has a spreadsheet, or maybe on a tab already open, how do we really lower the barrier for you to try it out? And then at the same time, people are already familiar with a spreadsheet interface, so there isn't a lot that we have to teach them. We have to show them the special things of Rose. And so we thought, why don't we drop the homepage, land the people directly on the product? If it doesn't work, we can always roll back and bring the homepage back. And I think we knew that more people would use the product because they would have access to it, but we were not expecting the results to be so good. So just like 2 or 3 data points, we tripled the conversion rate to sign up. So we were converting maybe 8 to 9% of people to sign up. Now it's more than 20, 25%. The activation, the number of activated users also exploded 3 to 5x. And SEO really benefited as well
Hmm?
because now people spend a lot more time on
Right.
page. There's a lot of referrals, a lot of backlinks. And so all of that things helped. I think if you are the type of product where people are kind of familiar with the interface, where you have a big market, where you have a freemium model, I think it's worth giving it a shot. That's kind of what we learned from this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think it's next level PLG. So you try the product directly, and as you said, also helps on SEO testing the product. I think it's amazing. How competitive is your space? What do you see in the market?
It's a bit of a mix. So we have two types of competitors. We have, let's say, the incumbents, Excel and Google Sheets, where they compete not really because they innovate, but they compete because they are there and they're reliable and the spreadsheets work well, and this is what people are used to. And then we
Right.
have the alternatives of what are people using as vertical tools, like maybe they're using a vertical reporting tool for their paid marketing or for their social media. And so in that sense, it's very competitive because people always have an alternative at hand. Either they're doing things manually on a spreadsheet, or they're using add-ons, or they're using these vertical tools. And what we have to do is position ourselves as the best spreadsheet to do the job, so that you don't need a reporting solution. Like, you're saving money there. It's much more productive. You build something that you're proud to share because it looks much better. But obviously, everybody already has a spreadsheet, so at that level is quite competitive. But you don't see many entrants into market. There are not many people building new spreadsheets because for us, it took us 5, 6 years just to build the core product in a good enough state that 1 million people would want to use it. We just crossed 1 million users, but it took
Wow.
us a long time to get there. It's just like building the whole layer, all the formulas, the interface, the grid, being performance, adding charts. There's just a lot of product to build to have a good spreadsheet to start with.
I think reaching a million users is mostly your job because you're the head of growth, but we'll talk about that later. I'm curious to know about the company. When the project start, what is the founding story, if you're familiar?
Yeah. Well, I joined about 6 years ago. We were pre-product and basically pre-users. But Umberto and Torben, the two founders, had founded the company maybe a year before or a little bit before. And the story of the company is they were ex-consultants. They had a startup together before, and they just saw that people were using spreadsheets every day, multiple hours a day, and they saw some patterns that were just very inefficient. So you always need data from the outside. There weren't good ways of doing it. You need to write scripts or install these shady add-ons. And then at the end of the day, most of the times when you're using a spreadsheet, it ends up somewhere else, maybe in a PowerPoint deck, maybe you send it over email, and it's just not a good way of sharing a spreadsheet. And you
Right.
see all of these office tools being transformed, but the spreadsheets weren't. And so they thought, okay, why don't we try to do something better? And that was the idea behind Rose. And
And you're
yeah.
basically the first employee or founding member.
There was a few developers who were building this initial prototype, and I was hired to be the first product person, or the first like non-engineer, non-design person. And then the role morphed as the company grew, etc. But yeah,
Uh,
it's been now 6 years, I guess. Yeah.
wow. And I love the name. I think it's so intuitive and you cannot forget it.
We went through a big rebrand. We were used to be called Dash Dash, and then I think in 2020 we rebranded to Rose. So that was a whole interesting process as well, like changing the brand, changing the name, changing the colors, etc.
Was the domain expensive?
100K. We actually have on our blog. If you go to Google and you type why Rose rebranded, I think you'll land on our blog post. We explain all of this. The agencies that we looked at, what were the cost for the whole project. Everybody asks us this: how expensive was the domain? It was around 100K. I think it's, if you think about real estate for the internet, I think it's quite okay. Maybe these 4 or 5 letter domains sometimes go for millions or high hundreds of thousands, or I think it's good. And like you said, people understand what Rose is. We actually did this fun thing a couple of weeks ago. We went to a marketing conference in London, and to
Hmm.
save on costs, because we were testing the event, we went to a booth with nothing on it. Like, we didn't have roll-ups or anything about the brand, only our name. And the hook to call people to the booth was, "Hi, we're at a event in marketing here in London. were called roles. What do you think we do? And I think about 30% of the people said, or what does roles remind you of? Maybe 30% of people said spreadsheets or databases or something. So I think there is some affinity with the name, at least, that
It
we could
is,
judge from this exercise.
for sure, for sure. How big is the team today?
About 30 people, between most of them in Portugal or Berlin, and then we have a few other people in places like Brazil or India.
And is it a funded business or a bootstrap business?
Yeah, we raised a bit more than 20 million, 25 million so far in different funding rounds. Again, it took us a few years to build out the product. So yeah, VC backed, very good investors, people like Axel, Lakestar, Cherry. So yeah, that have helped us along the way.
And you definitely found the product market fit.
I think it's for some use cases we have clear product market fit, like within marketers and growth people. As a spreadsheet more general, we see a mix of things. So for example, the people in the Notion community love to use rows to import their databases, crunch the numbers, embed them back. There are some use cases where we still don't have product market fit, but I think it's tackling one at a time.
Yeah, you're also expanding. What was your biggest challenge so far?
The biggest challenge was we wanted to keep this horizontal positioning of being a better spreadsheet, but time is an enemy of that because at some point you need to start getting customers, and then you get into these discussions of how do I focus the ideal customer profile, who is this spreadsheet for? And I think that has been the hardest part, which is what features do we need to build to go after a specific ideal customer profile that still makes sense in the broader spreadsheet thing. So we built, for example, in the early years, a lot of integrations that were not being very used because we were targeting, for example, salespeople in the beginning, but they weren't really a great ICP for us. But for example, it only made sense to go after marketers after we had charts. Like the first couple of versions didn't have charts, and so you couldn't build reports. So it's kind of been this continuous road there. Yeah.
How did you find the first customers?
Friends and network, really. I would say the first 1,000 people were through LinkedIn, through our network, through people that we had worked with. And then maybe like 1 to 10,000, we did several product hunt launches. And that's, I think, what got us to 10K people. We had a wait list, right? And we would do these launches every 6 months or every year to drum up support and get more people in.
Nice, because it's an innovative product. It works. People are curious. They want to sign up, right?
Yeah, a lot that people were initially curious, what does a spreadsheet look like? Like, what are these people thinking that they can build a new spreadsheet? So there was quite some word of mouth or curiosity to get people to give it a try at least. We've never had any troubles with people giving the product a try at least.
Nice. It's good to have that curiosity in them.
Yeah.
Today, what's the most successful go-to-market strategy for acquiring customers?
Yeah, we have these ongoing conversations on these scalable acquisition channels. So far, by and large, all of the acquisition has been through word of mouth. So people talking about us. We exploded on Twitter last year when we launched our AI analyst and then removed the homepage. And so we have thousands of signups every week, all organic. Now, for the past, I think, 3 to 6 months, we've been adding SEO as a second layer of acquisition. So we have a lot of templates. So if you go to rose.com/templates, you can think almost as like a Canva-like or Airtable-like strategy, where if you're on Google and you're looking for a Google Analytics 4 template, you should land in one of our landing pages for that. So there's quite some SEO either through /blog or /calculator/tools or /templates. And then underlying on the product, there's some team virality, like person A inviting person B, sharing spreadsheet with person C. But I would say that by far has been word of mouth, number one, number two, SEO and team virality. And now we're adding new layers like stress testing some paid acquisition channels. Does it make sense for us or not? Doing some work with content creators. But by far, word of mouth has been the biggest winner.
And I guess you also have some viral loops, like when somebody shares a document, you see that it rose and they check it out, right? Something like that?
Yeah, we have two types of viral loops. So the first is what I like to call intra-team viral loop, which is I sign up, I share with someone from my team, this person can share with someone else from their team. And so it expands like a land and expand motion inside an account. But then we have in-between teams virality, which is a marketing agency, for example, signs up, starts using rows for their client reports, and then share the link with their client. Their client come across a row spreadsheet, they might like it, duplicate it from there, and continuing the process within their team. There's kind of these two motions, but they are really product led. The product needs to be good enough that you want to invite someone, or good enough that you want to share the spreadsheet with someone else.
Right. What's your vision for the future of the company?
I think that this idea of a spreadsheet is the simplest interface for business people to interact with data. I think it's very powerful still. And so our mission is to make it even easier to import data, transform, and share. And you can think of this in many ways. So import might mean creating more integrations, allowing people to connect their own integrations, building more tools like we did with Rose X, which is our Chrome extension to pull data from the web. Then transform is going to be very AI heavy. We have one AI analyst that we launched last year. We're going to do a big upgrade in the next couple of months that will completely transform how we use AI inside the spreadsheet to add new columns, enrich data, format it, create charts, etc. And then to share it, we have big releases coming up on how you share a spreadsheet so that it looks a lot more like a BI tool if you wanted to, like specific elements, filtering these dashboards, making the embed look even better, looking better even on mobile. I think it's continuing this path. Clearly, it's a simple interface that anyone, billions of people can use in a spreadsheet. We have to make it easier to import data, easier to transform, and just beautiful to share. That's the plan.
I love that vision, and I'm rooting for you. Now we arrived at the last part of the podcast, basically a bit about yourself. So if you can share, how does a day-to-day look like for you as the head of growth? What do you actually do?
I love the job because it's a mix of product marketing and working with users. If I think about, if I open right now on a new tab, my calendar today, what happened? So in the morning, I was publishing a few content pieces on rose.com/tools because we are experimenting a new SEO channel there through tools. So that was a bit of the morning. Then the stand-up with our growth team. So my team has a few developers and engineers as well, and we're building a few features like this new version of the analyst. So we did our daily stand-up with them. Then I had a user call in the morning and also exchanging a few ideas on acquisition channels. So they were working on. And then in the afternoon, I have one call with the content creator that we're partnering with within our ICP. I have a call to discuss a new event that we might take part in Amsterdam sometime later in the year. And then I have a couple of user calls as well. So, helping people debug their spreadsheets or expand their use cases or using rows more. And I think this is mostly it. I tend to have somewhat of a meeting-like schedule, maybe 2-3 meetings a day. Normally 1.5 would be users, 1 would be team. And then the rest of the time is still very operational, like going through SQL, writing queries, looking at data, planning the next releases, writing copy. Yeah.
I appreciate the transparency. Now, please share how you started your career, basically after high school or college.
Yeah. I studied industrial engineering and management, which in a way, I think it's interesting. It prepared me a bit for the role of working at a startup because you learn different things. You're not an expert on anything, but it's an engineering course. So heavy on mechanics, physics, all of that. But then it's also a business course. So you do microeconomics, accounting. We do like a little bit of programming, SQL databases, stuff like that. And then when I left college or the university, I did a bit of consulting for a while. And that was really interesting because it allowed me to work. I did consulting projects in the US, in China, in Russia, in Taiwan, in a lot of different places, and in Portugal, where I'm from. And then after that, I just decided to move to the tech world during the university. I had been a part of small entrepreneurial groups, more like events that were happening in the university campus. And so I joined Talkdesk at the time, which now is like 10 billion plus company in the SaaS space, but 10 years ago was much smaller. I really liked that environment, and then I moved to another one, and then basically 6 years.
What was your role starting into tech?
The setup was interesting because basically most of the leadership team was in the US in San Francisco, and then the tech team was in Portugal. And they wanted to hire a person inside the product team that would be like a liaison between Portugal and the US. So it would be partly product manager, a little bit of project management, And that's how I landed on the job, because I had a lot of operation experience as a consultant. I had this interest in tech. I think I had a few ideas or good ideas about the product. And then I joined there, then moved to product role. The team grew very fast. And that's how I landed on it.
And how did you make the transition to marketing side, let's say?
Well, when I joined Rose, maybe 1.5 years in, what we noticed were we were having more users, and I was, I think, naturally the person who was talking with users a lot inside the product and tech team.
You liked it?
And then, yeah, I really enjoyed that part. In parallel, we had built the first data layer inside Rose, like the first reporting, the first BI, etc. And so when it made sense to move someone to be more focused on marketing, helping the product grow, but in a product-led way, it just was natural that I would be the first person to give it a try. And then the role evolved a bit when we do the rebrand and be a lot about marketing. And then once AI came in, our team was the first one to play around with the OpenAI APIs and to do a few prototypes. And so we kind of took over that. So it's been, I think, quite natural evolution of it. When you're joining a company like this, you never really know what you're going to do in 1 or 2 years' time. But I think you adapt. And that's what happened. Like, started like as the first product manager, building, like expanding the prototype, but now I'm doing something quite different.
And after all of your experience, what would be the best piece of advice for a starting founder or starting person, or to you yourself when you were just after college?
Yeah. The way I like to think about it now is I think we're in this like 1995 moment on the internet. Like, this AI thing is clearly happening. It seems to be big enough to impact a lot of different industries. So if I was 20, 21, 22, 19 again, what I would tell myself is just go and build things. It's never as easy to build things. Try to build a small product that you sell, or build a portfolio of ideas, or play around with AI, do images, do text, like find something that you like. I think that is really interesting now, because the barrier to entry is quite low. I think it's like a lot of people in the next decade are going to move very fast within companies, because they're going to be the person who gets AI. Just like in the 2000s, people raised through the ranks fast because they were the only person who knew the internet or who understood the internet. So I would just build things, try to sell them, try to market them, learn from there.
Thank you. I have one last question for you today. What's your favorite SaaS product that you use apart from Rose?
I love this indie freelancer product called Screen.studio. I don't know if you've heard about it. I use it a lot.
Seems familiar.
Yeah, we share a lot of videos on our Twitter, LinkedIn channels on use cases on how to use the product. And we always had this issue of when you're sharing a video of a screen grab on desktop, then if you look at it in mobile, like it's just really hard to see a desktop like application in mobile. And they do this really cool thing of automatically zooming in and zooming out based on where your mouse cursor is. And so that is just a perfect tool for that. And I think it's built by this Polish developer. It kind of took off. Now a lot of people use it, and I just love it. I recommend it to everybody. And they have this crazy viral loop because of word of mouth. Whenever I share a video on LinkedIn or Twitter using the tool, maybe, there's always one comment asking, what tool did you use to record it? Because it's just clearly not, recording on your screen normally. And so that's one that I really like. Yeah.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Anything else that you want to share today on the podcast?
Oh, look, I'm Henrique Cruz on LinkedIn, Henrique@rose.com. If you give the product a try, I'd love to get your feedback. We're really open and transparent to that. It's a spreadsheet. I'm sure all of your listeners will be able to use it and have at least one small use case to give it a try. So especially if you're on desktop, or if you go to desktop, go to rose.com, try out our no homepage experience, and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear about it.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was like 5 minutes. I really enjoyed your value shared, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.